Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast. Prepare for the SML Podcast.
Should we start then?
Yes.
Since everyone's here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What's up, I
didn't even do it this time.
Yes.
Hate you all. What's up, everybody?
Are we just not saying randomly saying yes?
Yes.
I just want to start the show.
Yes.
Fuck you.
We're being positive tonight.
Yes.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. We have a big old party cast for our Thanksgiving week show. We've only got one show this week, so everyone's here except Brooke and Purnell. Aki's here, Bree is here, Chris is here, Jacob's here. How's everyone doing?
Boo, Jacob, boo.
Yeah, we could have switched out Jacob for Brooke. I'd have been fine with that.
Well, she didn't have anything to review, so Jacob's here.
Yeah, but to be fair, you would have switched out Chris for Brooke as well. Like,
No, Chris is fine.
got three things to review.
Really? So it's really just me? It's not just any of the dudes here?
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
I'd switch you out for Purnell too, if it makes you feel better.
On the plus side, we at least know that Aki's not sexist. That's
I'm just anti-Jacob. I thought we all knew this already.
Although I will say, I think that is the highest compliment Aki has ever paid me. Hey,
It's
Chris.
probably also the only one I've ever paid you.
That's fine. I'll take it.
That actually is high praise. Yeah.
Man, that's
My week was great. Thanks for asking.
How was your week, Joe?
No, we already asked.
I asked in the chat.
Yeah, that's fair. My week sucked, but whatever. Thanksgiving's coming up. Black Friday's coming up. Anybody buying anything in the sales?
No,
I
but I
don't
want
think
to.
so.
Hard maybe.
Hard maybe. What are you eyeing up?
There's a couple things like the newer Katamari reroll
Nice.
has a decent sale.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things I'd have to go back and look.
There's a lot of stuff on the eShop that I really want to get, but I also really need to pre-order that Dragon Quest Monsters because it's coming up. Which is funny because I just got my Dragon Quest Infinity Strash Adventures of Dai
I saw
from
that.
PlayAsia after pre-ordering it in early September.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Timely delivery.
I mean, that's nothing compared to the small batch stuff. Like, I have limited run stuff from 2022 and 2021 that still hasn't been sent.
Good lord.
Chained Echoes from last year hasn't been sent, and I've got 2 games from Strictly Limited from earlier this year, but they haven't been sent either.
Jeez.
Is there a reason why, or
Because small batch companies take about 1.5 to 2 years to send anything.
good lord?
I'd lose
Yeah,
my
manufacturing
fucking mind.
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, my 2 Darius collections that I got from Strictly Limited, one of them took 2.5 years or something like that.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah,
No, I couldn't do that. I'd lose my mind.
Moobot's dropping a notification that Trash Rando did something involving money. I'm going to guess a renewed subscription, maybe, or I have no clue. I'm not getting any other notification besides a Moobot message saying thanks for the money, Trash Rando.
Yeah, I don't.
So
see
I
it
have
either.
I have no clue what went through, but thank you for hanging out.
just a little
Thank you,
dollar
Keeping Us
bill
Company.
tucked into the waistband.
And to the G string.
Mm-hmm.
Get off the stage.
Wait a minute. Why is that not an option in the merch?
G string.
Jacob's G-string? Well, because I haven't worn enough of them. I mean, you really got to get in those layers of, smegma and Fremunda cheese.
No.
You know,
I
it's
hate
really
you.
an acquired taste.
I hate you.
Mm.
I'm eyeing up Sonic Superstars and Lords of the Fallen in the sale if I could somehow swing any kind of money out of our next paycheck, but I don't think anything's happening. So I will just dream until the New Year sale and hope that they're on sale again.
Yeah.
I've got sorry.
Go ahead.
I've got $10 of Microsoft credit, so I'm looking forward to seeing what $9.99 game I can afford.
None
Believe it or
of
not,
them.
I have $20 in PlayStation credit that I earned through the Sony rewards program.
Oh,
So
nice.
I finally got something back from Sony. And then on the
Ooh.
Microsoft side, I have 600,000 points waiting to be redeemed that I can't do shit with until January.
Wowzers.
Yeah. Those are
Uh,
how
should
much I
just
buy
have you
on
log into my
Xbox compared to
account.
PlayStation.
I think I just need to have you log into my account and use your credit card. That way I get the points. Jesus, you got so many points. I can't even fathom that. Holy shit.
Once I get like 10% back on everything I buy because of being like the level 2 rewards and having Game Pass Ultimate, you get like a shit ton of points back just buying stuff.
I didn't know
It adds
that.
up.
Huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then doing the weeklies, the dailies, searching, it adds up. Adds up quick.
Yeah, I'm really bad at actually keeping up with doing all those things.
You
Yeah.
should do it because it
I'm pretty
It's a good
casual,
program.
like I don't know, like middle of the road as far as like how much I actually get done in a given day, or if I even remember every day. And
Yeah, exactly.
by the end of the month, I still get enough for a $10 gift card.
there you go.
You do so much better than I do. I get the weekly Xbox thing, and that's it. I'm on like week 86 or something in a row.
Nice.
That's
Sweet.
it. That's the only thing I do. for sure do. Everything else maybe.
My
I'm
weekly
bad at it.
streak is massive right now. That's the only thing I've kept up with. I don't do daily streaks.
You don't wash your underwear?
I actively avoid getting reward points at times,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still at 226 week streak for the.
Yeah, I had a really long week streak, and then I totally botched it, and I'm like super sad now. Like I just I don't even
I
have
did
the
the
will to
same.
keep going anymore. It's so sad.
I did the same. That's why I'm only on 86-ish. Because I fucked up once.
Mhm.
And
86
it
is
was
still
because
really good.
I was drive my grandparents when I go and visit them every year, we drive.
Mm.
And I missed I needed to log in like one extra day. And this was before I
Yeah.
had my smartphone. So I could only do it via the computer, and we were driving, so I missed it, and I was so bummed.
That sucks.
Yeah, I think I was in like the 60th week or something at that point. I was doing okay.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I went right back to one. I was like, you motherfucker. It happens.
I think my longest daily streak is 6.
My
'Cause
longest
I don't care about the dailies at all.
my longest daily I think was 4. I can't remember to do any of that shit. Like the weekly's the
Yeah.
only one I remember.
Wait, are we talking about Microsoft rewards and shit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you
I
not
was
paying
at, like-
attention?
not
No.
really, no.
You ass.
I was at like 800 odd days or something like that. And then remember when the friggin' Microsoft Awards like shit the bed repeatedly this spring and summer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I lost my, like, they restored it. And then I lost it again like 4 days later through no fault of my own. They restored it again.
Mhm.
And then like I lost it again 2 weeks later. And I was just like, I'm just fucking done with you guys. And I get whatever I get. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not going to try to go for the 999 day badge. Like, forget it. Like,
Yeah, I don't
That's a
care about the
bummer.
badges. I just want the points.
well, yeah, but like the longer you keep up the streaks, the more points you get
Yeah, you do.
theoretically. So,
Ah. What the hell were the points you got from such a high streak? I want to know what
no,
they get up to.
I don't think it got a higher than 2,000 at a time, like every
Oh.
like 10 weeks or some shit. I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was worth it, but yeah.
Again, it adds up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My Xbox news is I dug my Xbox out of the garage today, and I'm going to hook it up at some point.
Xbox or 360 or which one?
My original Xbox.
Nice.
Oh, snap.
What are you planning to play?
Well, I'm going to check the disk drive and see what's actually in it, because I have no idea. But, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm like, I do have a new controller for it and, like, some games. Just might, load up something random and, mess with it. Because I didn't play much of it back in the day except for Morrowind. It was my Morrowind machine.
No, Morrowind loads so quick on the series compared to the original Xbox. I remember getting up and making a sandwich during a load screen.
I legitimately also did something similarly long. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it involved the kitchen. And yes, the load times were just... You could go take a bathroom break, a smoke break.
That was... So many games had like long load times and stuff like that. You just kind of didn't... Well, you noticed, but you weren't like... I'm used to games loading up immediately. Like, no, it was just like, oh, okay, this one's got extra load times. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
hey, it was the future back then.
Yeah.
I've never cared about load times. They can be as long as they want. I don't care. Doesn't bother me at all.
I care. I got shit to do.
It depends.
I don't.
It depends on some of them. I mean, like, because if you remember, like, the original Burnout, like, my God, like, sometimes the load times for those levels were almost as long as it took to complete a race.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the one that always killed me was Too Human, like, where it had that, like, that death animation. Oh, my God, it literally went on for a minute, and you couldn't skip it.
Okay, stuff like that I don't like.
That was the worst, because
Aki,
you would just die over and over.
No, I've never played that.
You should grab it. I believe it's free on the Xbox store.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It's not bad.
So look,
because they can't legally sell it anymore.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some other game. Oh, they're they're pulling the Taiko game from Nintendo.
Oh yeah, the
Taiko no Tatsujin.
Yeah, we talked about that on Thursday's show. That doesn't have anything to do with the new game, though, right? It's just the old game.
I don't really know. I just remember not being able to play something and being like, "Oh yeah, that's going away." Huh. Need to.
So
it is
Too Human. The entirety of the description in the Xbox Marketplace is download now. Period.
Okay.
And it has all the free, the pre-order stuff is free too.
Yeah.
Give it a download. Try it out. You might like it, except for the death animations. So don't die much, but you will because it's hard.
I assume it's a first-person shooter.
No.
Oh, what the hell is it?
Third-person action game.
I'm good. Oh, I'm not good then. Never mind.
No, you'll have fun with it. It seems like something you'd play.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you would.
There's only 2 games on the sale that I'm particularly interested in right now.
Which ones?
Dead Space and Avum, because they're both half off. And beyond that, there's only one other thing that I'd be interested in. I can't afford any of this, so it doesn't really matter. But the Series S, there's a bundle for like $210 or something. I'm like, if I wasn't about $3,000 in the hole right now, I would totally get that. Hopefully,
only $3,000 in the hole, man.
Yeah, that's a lot for someone who makes around $10,000 a year, though. That's
true.
That's a whole lot. Hopefully, I'll have it mostly paid off by this time next year. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. And then I will buy a Series S for my grandparents' house.
Nice.
And then I'll have a current console, and I'll be able to, not take 3 months off of doing reviews.
There's a screen that they sell on Amazon for the Series S that just like attaches to the back and flips down.
Yes.
That's on sale for like $180, and I'm eyeing that thing up. I wish I had the money for something like that. That would be great for MagFest.
Aki, wait, are you hold on. Are you saying that there's going to be 3 months where I don't have to hear your voice?
Yes, there always is.
No, she's
December,
still on
January,
the
and
show.
February. Well, occasionally, not too often though. Usually for those 3 months, I'm just playing whatever Assassin's Creed game I hadn't completed. And this year, it's Valhalla.
I could have sworn that the only time you really took off was when we took the show off for like that month and a half or whatever.
No,
I seem to remember you always being on.
Well, sometimes I am when we have PC games. And for a while, it was Xbox One. So obviously I had the Xbox One there. So I was still there. But once it moved to the series consoles, I was occasionally on when there was a PC game that I could run on my grandparents' very piss poor computer. But usually I'm just, that might pop on just to bother people, but otherwise, no, I'm usually gone. Last year I was here, but I only spent 1 month at their house last year, so which was abnormal. But yeah, but next year I should be able to hopefully afford a Series S for there, because I don't need a disc drive. I have the Series or the Xbox One S there, so if I need a Blu-ray or DVD drive, I got that. So yeah. So I'll just get the digital one, and when eventually I have to move those from their house because they're not around anymore, then I'll just move it to my parents' house. It is what it is.
Yeah. Series S is a fun little machine, though.
Yeah. It'll probably drive me nuts simply because it doesn't have a disc drive, and I really like them having a disc drive. But, it should be fine. I mean,
you'll get used to not using discs. There's so much stuff now that I don't buy because it's on disc. And I don't want to fuck with discs anymore. I'm like, oh, well, you don't really own it if it's a digital download. Bitch, I don't care. I'm going to die, and then I'm not going to have any of that shit anyway.
There you go. Exactly. Like,
so just buy it digital.
You think my wife and kids aren't going to sell off my video game collection the moment I croak? Yeah, right.
Oh my God, Ashley is going to make so much bank selling my shit when I'm gone.
Exactly.
I wonder if she could find a private buyer for my Xbox account. Sell it for like $400,000 or something.
GameStop will give her $547 in credit.
And maybe an extra 3 cents for all the physical games.
Sorry. You had your Gamers Plus rewards. You get $623. My bad.
I actually canceled my Pro membership.
Oh shit! All right, $547. My bad.
Yeah. They tried to auto renew on me without my consent. They just wanted to auto renew without telling me. It's like, hey, we're going to charge you. And my old card was still on file, so the charge didn't go through. I'm like, all right, I'm never subscribing to you again. I don't shop there enough anymore. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I got rid of mine, God, so long ago. I don't know if you remember, but there used to be an old Flash game website called Congregate that GameStop bought. Around then is when I got rid of mine. I wonder if that.
Yeah, I don't get enough value out of it. I would get $5 coupons and never use them, and you can't even, like, you used to be able to use your $5 coupon for a $5 Xbox card. Can't do it anymore.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
And now apparently they're changing how they handle like returns, where if you return a new game because it's defective, they'll replace it with a used one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird and crappy.
If your system's broken, you bought a new system and it's broken, you return it, they'll give you a used one.
Nope. Yeah, they were always kind of icky when it came to that stuff. I don't know how many times people brought up stories where they had called in, were told they had brand new of what they were looking for, went there, and then they tried to sell them only used, and it was a lot of back and forth before they just finally said, okay, fine, we'll get you the new one.
No.
I had that kind of shit happen to me, and it pissed me off every time. That's one of the reasons why I quit going to GameStop and went to Amazon.
Or buying gutted copies is new. I hate that. I will not buy a gutted copy is new. You're going to discount it, and I know you're allowed to, so you're going to. So.
I just go to Best Buy at that point.
Yeah, although that's like an hour drive for me, so I never get there anymore.
For me, it's just kind of hard to go there, because my grandfather worked at Circuit City, and so we were strictly don't go to Best Buy.
I remember Circuit City.
I remember them closing and Best Buy getting all their employees. I was there.
Yeah, I remember them closing and then screwing all their workers out of, all the money that they were owed.
Yeah, I heard a lot about that at my job at Best Buy, where they all went.
Yeah, I still hear about it because my grandfather still complains about it. Rightfully so. It was some bullshit.
Oh, man.
And Congregate still exists. Holy shit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I don't know how any of these games work because I always thought this was just a Flash game website, but no, they have tons of games on here still. They all look like Facebook games.
Speaking of tons of games, we got a ton of games we got to talk about tonight. Should we dive into reviews?
Yeah. Sure.
Bree, you ready to start things off?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Cool. In other words, no.
Well, first game to talk about tonight is Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, developed by Second Impact Games and Konami, published by Konami, released September 14th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $39.99. It's Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, the chaotic rhythm adventure, a puzzling co-op mashup unlike anything you've ever heard. Solo or with a bunch of friends, can you conquer the castle? Bree, tell us about your time with Super Crazy Rhythm Castle.
Oh my goodness. All right. So first of all, it is online or local co-op up to 4 players. This is important. You start out with character selection. You can be a little dancing boombox head, a crow, a demon, some old guy with a hobby horse that's also a boom mic. His name's Mike. Anyway, and then you're led into a crazy castle with the aid of a mysterious stranger who's leading you along. I had to find different ways to say super crazy and rhythm and castle and not make it the same exact thing over and over and over again. The first thing you have to do is you play a tutorial song, which determines the difficulty level. There are 2 difficulty settings. You can change that at any time, which is great. Regular has 3 lanes, fewer commands, simpler patterns. Pro, which I can't do, has 4 lanes, more commands, complex patterns. So what makes this rhythm castle super crazy, you ask? I hear totally everybody asking that question.
What makes it super crazy?
There is more to do than just play a rhythm game. For example, the board might spin or curve, and then there's a bunch of mini games mixed in with the rhythm game. Here's some examples. You might need to run in the middle of a level to clear the board of visual obstacles or fend off some stunning enemies. You might get places switched with a companion and need to run around and collect things, or you may find yourself needing to feed a void with broccoli and light ritual orbs with cans of beans, or you might have to find the balance between attacking and healing yourself. You might even have to fight an eggplant DJ with the aid of weed repellent bagpipes. It's, I don't know, a little crazy.
Did you say light orbs with cans of beans?
Yes.
What didn't you understand, Aki?
All of that, really? I thought I had a stroke in the middle of that.
It's super crazy. But some of the levels were sometimes too crazy and not enough rhythm game. Really, it's the mini game portion sometimes is hard to understand what you have to do quite at first. And I'll give another example of one of those scenarios later. But it's a really neat concept to switch up, just like the standard I'm playing a rhythm game. You get to explore the castle, which is really cool. There's tons of visual elements and nooks that you get to discover all sorts of stuff in. There's a working pathway of piano keys that actually works like it's supposed to, so you can run back and forth and play a little song if you know what you're doing. There's a character named Zig. He eats stardust. And
I approve.
Right. And the stardust is from the levels you complete, you get different stars for completing the levels. So you get 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars, depending on how good you do. And that all adds up to different stardusts. And then once you get enough, you can find the Zig and he'll eat it up and then unlock a new area for you. You may also have to solve small puzzles to gain access to other areas. And there are a bunch of different areas to the castle, different hubs. Besides the campaign, you have a music lab where you can just play unlock songs like a normal rhythm game. There's the garage, which allows you to play classic songs from Konami games like Castlevania. There's the Gradius, and there's a DDR that I've unlocked so far. And then there's the Versus Hub, which I'll also talk about here in a minute. You also, as you're walking around, you acquire weird little items like a wooden spoon or a car battery. And you get to help the denizens of the castle. They're called minims. They're like the little helpers of the king of the castle. And they're like little constructs. You actually learn how to make them at some point. I had to trade like a pair of glasses for a chicken bucket so that it could be used as a disguise because the minim had pissed off the king. I'm really not sure what was up with that. But also, something about cats, because I can't go without talking about cats, apparently. There is a meat cat in Meat World. Yes, I said Meat World. And you have to reunite it with its owner for a quest. I also found a ghost cat with a theremin, and I was able to free him from his bonds with a car battery. I don't know what was up with that either. It's crazy.
I can only imagine the drugs that went into making this game.
Yeah, that's fair. But it is also a music game, so let's talk about music for a moment. There's lots of different music styles: rock, pop, dubstep, punk, metal. There's more than 30 different tracks. And the audio is done well, not just the rhythm portion, but like around the castle, there's good sound effects, directional audio. It was like actually just a delight to listen to the game, which I think is important for a musical game. The progression through the game is a lot of step rewards. So if you play music in the lab, you're rewarded with little boxes to unlock every so many stars you earn. There's a reasonably priced like progression system throughout the castle where you solve the little puzzles and unlock the next level. Felt like there's a lot to do, even if you're stuck on a level, which I totally was, and had to find a friend to help. You can always practice a song or work toward a better score on an earlier level until you can kind of figure out what you need to do. Which brings me to the multiplayer. So you can co-op the campaign, or you can fight it out in the Versus Hub. There's 4 different modes in the Versus Hub, which were kind of fun to play through. There's a duel, a dance, chaos, and race modes. In the Versus,
kicked your ass.
You totally kicked. He kicked a ball at my head.
I did repeatedly. Multiple times. That might be the funniest thing in that game is just kicking a soccer ball at someone and knocking them away.
I liked the egg thing where you get to like you pick up this egg and a spoon, you take it over to this like ritual chalice or something, and these little monsters appear and like grab your opponent and like hug them. But yeah, so they score things differently in the versus area. So it's not just how well you're playing, but it's also how well you're playing the game. It's not just points per hit. It doesn't really tell you exactly how that works. It's a mystery, but it even kind of says that. That's all part of the game. So you don't necessarily have to, in versus mode, be the best person at the rhythm game. You have to be the best person at the game.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. And so like most modes,
kicking the soccer ball at me more than I kick it at you.
Yeah, something like that. So if you want to take the risk, you can mess with the other players kicking the ball or, stuff like that to stun them. And that'll keep them from playing the rhythm and part of the game to get points, and then gives you the opportunity to go back and get some more points for yourself and so on. So like if you know the song really well too, you can time portions of that where you're like, oh, I know I'm terrible at this part of the game. Let me go kick a ball at Joe's head. Which is pretty cool.
I 100% approve of that. Kick all the balls.
Agreed.
Yes.
Kicking balls at Joe's head is always a good time.
Some downsides, though. It appeared that achievements were mostly host only.
Yeah.
I did get one that was like the exception to that rule. But we were able to like switch places on who was hosting and get the achievements that we wanted for the multiplayer. And then the other thing is that we both experienced lag as the guest. Not for the host. It only was a slight lag for the guest, it seemed.
Yeah, so it felt more like controlling the character, not really the rhythm part. The rhythm seemed to still be in time. It was just character movement seemed sluggish.
Yeah, it did. It like almost stuttered a little, and it was only really mattered in the versus area, not the campaign, or like when you're walking around the castle just trying to like keep up or something.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about the co-op to me. It felt like the game was designed to be a co-op experience and not just a zany rhythm game you have your friends join in on. And I think that there's a distinction there. Like it was designed with intention to be a more multiplayer experience. There's a few levels where you're forced to switch tasks in the middle a lot, and that makes a lot more sense playing with a friend than it did when I was playing it solo.
Yeah.
So, and playing with another person reminded me of like Overcooked a little as far as like communication you had to have And this is my big example, is the Gold Vault, which is a level I was stuck on until Joe came in and helped me. And it still took us 2 tries to get it done. So you had to cool down an overheated machine. You had to feed gems to hungry creatures and play specific notes in the song to keep everything from exploding, all while just trying to keep up and play the song well for points. That was a lot to do by myself. Having at least 2 people meant we could control 2 sides of the map, whereas previously I had to run around by myself, and it seemed like I was getting close to getting it done, but just never close enough for the points. I spent so much time on the mini game and not the rhythm aspect of the game. And so it was just like finding that balance was too hard to do by myself, but like with another person, it was clear that that was designed to have at least 2 people. And like the challenge level went up because there was a second person, but you were able to split the board and made it a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
So
I would love to see this with 4 players. I can only imagine.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The kind of chaos that could happen with 4 people going at it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing we noticed is there was one level we did where there was like 2 different versions of the music going on. So like one of us was playing rhythm and the other one was playing lead, which that was kind of cool. And thankfully, because there's a little feature you can turn it off, but it makes like a little ding every time you miss a note or hit a wrong note. And I'm really glad that did not happen like on the other person's screen, because I'm pretty sure I would have driven Joe absolutely crazy. I was so terrible at this one level. It was like normal level, speed zone. And I was like, nope.
Yeah, some of those rhythm sections get really, really tricky. I appreciate that they have controller remapping, because I think using X in the bumpers is kind of tricky. I would rather use A in the bumpers.
Yeah, and if you're doing pro, it's the right on the D-pad is the left side of that. And I mean, that works with a normal size controller. I happen to have a larger than normal controller right now because I have like an OtterBox on mine. And I was having such a hard time with the bumpers, so I'm remapped it to the triggers, and that was better. Like I didn't mind the X button as much, but the triggers definitely were easier for me than the bumpers for sure.
Like this might actually be something where I would put all the buttons like on left, down, A, and B, and just play with the face buttons instead of trying to use the bumpers.
That could be good.
Yeah, just some of the combos might be tricky with that, but.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see like what you could even do, like programming it in like other weird ways that might, because I do like finger tapping where I could like, I don't know, X and B for the right side and like do something funky on the left, like that wouldn't make a lot of sense to anyone but me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, this game doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's stupid fun. It's $40. Really, what are your thoughts on it?
Especially if you have friends to play with, like if you can get at least one other human to go in on this game, like it's super fun and I would highly recommend buying it. And if you can't, I mean, you can still play it by yourself, and I had a blast with it, but I definitely think it is more fun with a friend.
Yeah, we'll have to play this some more because it's definitely a good time.
And I found another friend who has a copy of it, so like I totally plan to like hit them up and like see what we can do, because I got stuck on another level, so yeah.
Maybe the 3 of us could play. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
it'd be fun.
Maybe we could find a 4th person. It would be swell.
All right, well, Bree, that is it for you. What's on the docket for you tonight?
I am gonna chill and like not have anxiety, and I'm gonna power wash some stuff. That's the plan.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I have a theater to power wash and a train to power wash, and I don't care how long it takes me. I'm just gonna
shit, the Back to the Future DLC.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
I still got to work on
spoilers. Sorry.
Clock tower.
Yeah.
It's a big ass clock tower. That's like, for being the 3rd level, that's really overwhelming.
Yeah, it was pretty big for sure. I did that whole thing on stream too, and yeah, it was a lot. I was like, oh man, I probably should have like stopped at 50% and like called it a day. Like, but now I'm at 90%. Surely it can't be that long. I was at 99% for like 20 minutes easily.
Oh Lord. All right, well, we will let you get going. Do you have any final words?
Eat all the good foods, enjoy all the people and the company and the stuff and the whatever if people do the things this week. Yay.
Yeah.
That was very well thought out.
Yep. Totally. Have a good one.
See you
later.
Bye.
All right, next up is UFO robot Grendizer, The Feast of the Wolves, developed by Endroad, published by Microids, released November 14th on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $39.99. For the first time in video game history, climb aboard Grendizer, the legendary robot, and fight against the forces of evil to defend our planet Earth. Jacob, tell us about this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This is pretty out there that they actually made a video game out of this anime / manga. So for those who aren't aware, it was made back in the 70s. Grendizer tells the tale of this planet that, everything's going to be going great. These two cultures are coming together and like a prince and princess are going to get married. But then the alien species that the princess is from decides to attack on the wedding day when everyone's defenses are down. And unfortunately, as a prince, you have to... I know, who could have seen this coming? But then, as the prince, you have to take control of the mobile robot Grendizer thing. I'm not really that familiar with it. But anyways, you have to take control of it, defend your homeworld. But then when that isn't enough, you have to make it out into space. And then defend the Earth. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, let's come on.
All right. Anyway, so in this game, it is mostly a third-person action game. Like there is some kind of on-rails parts that are kind of like Afterburner, but for the most part, you're going to be doing third-person stuff. And while the game is not open world per se, like it does, like at a certain point in the narrative, it will let you pretty much just like run around and do certain missions in like whatever order you feel like. But there's the combat I thought was kind of interesting, even though it's nothing exactly to write home about. Like the game itself is kind of average. In terms of an action game, fun, but average. But what it is that you have a bunch of different attacks, and the enemies will actually have a logo over their head to tell you what kind of attack you need to be able to get their shields or armor to drop before you can really lay into them. And not following that can really mess you up. And it's also some of these attacks are also based on how much energy you have. And so if you don't have enough energy, you then have to wait for it to naturally come back, or you have to spend precious moments like getting your energy back from the sun, which then brings up your health and stuff like that. And it really becomes this like energy management kind of thing, which I'm not going to lie, during a fight, like I get it, but at the same time, it could be an absolute pain in the butt, like trying to like leap around the arena as you're avoiding like the robot trying to like, oh my God, I got to get my health up, but I got to get my energy up, but I got to get my health. Oh God, I died again. And so I was actually, that was another thing I was a little surprised by. There is like no like difficulty thing to like make the game any easier. And so, I mean, I can't exactly see kids clamoring for this kind of game, but even as like a seasoned adult on this kind of stuff, like I was still I still found it to be fairly challenging in a lot of parts.
You know who I could see clamoring for this game?
Who?
Chris. Have you seen this game at all? This looks up your alley.
No, I've not.
We'll have to link you to the PS5 version. Maybe you could check it out. This looks like something you would play with your love for kaiju stuff.
Yeah, I mean it is around that area. I'm also a little surprised Aki didn't jump for this kind of stuff in terms of like Gunpla, with big robots and stuff like that. But but yeah, like combat's not terribly diverse. The missions aren't it's a lot of go here, collect this stuff, go beat the crap out of these monsters, go over here, move to the next thing. But I mean, like once you get to Earth, that's when like the game actually does start picking up, thankfully. But I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't become much easier. Thankfully, the game is generous with like its save points and stuff like that, and so, and also, even if you do die, there's no like real game over. It's just you just have to restart from your last part. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good introduction to the anime for folks. I mean, got me into it, and like I now want to check out the old '70s show.
Man, they have a collector's edition for this game with a figure and a steel book and art book. I mean,
that doesn't surprise me with anime nerds. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, anime nerds love swag.
Yeah, I wonder how much.
Swag is the best. Also, hey, Brooke.
Oh, Brooke's here. Brooke, how are you doing?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Hello.
Hey, Brooke.
I don't know if y'all saw my message. I didn't know you were starting early. I'm just getting off work now. What
yeah,
up, y'all?
It's just a reviews episode. So it's our only show of the week. So
sweet. Okay. Well, I'm here to hang out for a while. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
that's
no,
okay.
That's fine. Jacob is talking about UFO robot Grendizer, the Feast of the Wolves.
Aki's very
anime.
okay with you interrupting me.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime, bud.
I'm okay with literally anyone interrupting you, but
yeah, that's fair.
That's true. And thanks, Dad.
Anytime, my boy. So glad we could be together this holiday.
Aww. But yeah, UFO Grendizer, it's pretty cool. But I'm going to warn you right now, you're going to be in for a bit of a challenge. I wish that there was an easy mode for it. But I mean, it's a standard, it's a standard action game, just with a nice anime flair to it.
Nice. Well,
I'd recommend. Sorry.
As I say, it clocks in at $40. What is your verdict on this one?
$40 is honestly pretty good for this, especially with other anime similar anime titles out there. Getting into the action thing, I especially at $40, I'd recommend it. How much is that special edition going for?
They don't have it in America.
Oh, of course they don't.
Yeah, they just have it in the UK, I think, and Spain and
France.
I think only one place carries it for Xbox, and it's €241, which Yeesh. I believe is fairly expensive.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'd recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun, and hopefully it doesn't get overlooked.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, that turns out to $260 US. So I don't think I could afford that. But Brooke, how are you doing? Might as well chat with you a little bit in between games. How's things going for you?
Pretty good. I got invited over to a friend's house for Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna be making a pie crust while y'all are doing this.
Very cool.
What kind of pie are you making?
I'm actually making a pear pomegranate pie. I'm going to soak the pear slices in pomegranate juice overnight. I'm going to start that tonight too, crust tonight. And then I'm going to make a pomegranate, what do you call it? It's like a molasses. It's like a really dark, thick syrup of just cooked down pomegranate, and I bake that on top of the pie. It's my recipe. This is my third time making this, so I'm going to try something different.
Now, out of curiosity, with the pears being soaked in pomegranate, does that do anything for the pear itself, or does it just give it a different flavor and color?
Well, my friend had the idea because poached pears is a really popular dessert, a syrup made with red wine and warming spices, and it'll change the outer color of the pear, but also just kind of infuse it with flavor. The first time I tried to make this one, I soaked the pears overnight, and I thought they tasted good and they were pretty color, but I wanted more of a pomegranate flavor to it. So now I add the syrup too that I cooked down.
I gotcha. I mean, my thing is I hate pears. I think
here it is. I always hoped you'd follow my footsteps too. So this is dark.
I think that they're mushy, and I'm just nah. Like I like a good crisp like apple. Like so, like
That's
I don't
fair.
know.
Texture is important.
My kids love pears, and I'm just like, you guys are gross.
They can't be
Also,
too
you like
soft, or they
pears.
do get kind of mealy. So you got to get a firm one. I'll agree with you on that one.
See,
Yeah,
I just like peanut butter pie. I'm simple.
See,
What is a
Ashley
peanut butter
loves peanut
pie?
butter
Is it just
pie,
a peanut
too.
butter filling? Oh yeah, I know Ashley loves peanut butter for sure.
I like
My
the
grandmother
pie.
used to make like a peanut butter cream pie with like sprinkles on top, and oh, it was so good.
That sounds great.
I'm gonna miss having that. That's Thanksgiving.
Do
is
you
gonna
have the
be really-
recipe?
No,
Does
Oh,
anybody
man.
have the recipe?
I don't know if she ever wrote a recipe for it. She just did it from memory.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You should ask around. Every old lady has a recipe book fucking somewhere, okay? I have a
Yeah,
recipe
I've got
book
one.
for fuck's sake. Every woman has. If she knows how to cook, she has a fucking recipe book.
Now
It's
she hasn't
there
cooked in a
somewhere.
few years, and now
We
she's
don't
not going to
throw
cook
that
anymore.
shit out.
so-
Yeah, you could take my hands and get rid of them tomorrow. I'd still have my recipes for the next 50 fucking years. They ain't going nowhere.
I'll have
Just
to ask
ask.
my mom. if
Yeah,
she
but that's
knows
because your
anything.
recipes are buy a burger at Checkers. Like
Fuck off.
your
And
recipes
that
are
is a
crap.
really good recipe. Can I just say?
It is a pretty recipe, actually, but
Success.
yeah.
This is going to be a weird Thanksgiving for us. I asked my mom, are there any
bet.
plans for Thanksgiving? And she was just like, ask your fucking sister.
Oh man.
Apparently,
Well, that's one
my
way to
mom
do it.
didn't want to do anything for Thanksgiving, obviously, because she just lost her mother, and we would usually have it at her place and with her. And my mom is just really out of it. Like, she's not doing really well right now. And my sister was like, "Oh, well, I already invited my boyfriend and his roommate and his girlfriend." My mom's like,
Oh
"Are
my
you
God.
kidding me?" Like, she
Well,
didn't
uninvite them.
ask. She didn't ask. She just did it. And my mom's like, "I ordered turkey breast. We're gonna order. This is bullshit."
I just would
I
have been
don't
like,
understand
all
at
right,
all.
get orders for Chinese because that's what we're having. Like,
I told her to just DoorDash from Cracker Barrel.
I mean, Cracker Barrel's pretty good. I wouldn't knock it. I like Cracker
Hey,
Barrel.
we
Is
did Cracker
Cracker Barrel-
Barrel. We did a Cracker Barrel Thanksgiving a few years ago. Ashley and I ordered it, and we invited my mom, my grandmother, and my sister over, and they had the food. They were like, "This is wonderful. I didn't know you knew how to cook, Ashley." And Ashley's like, "Yeah, it's a family recipe." And all the boxes are in the back porch. And after dinner, we were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it was Cracker Barrel." And my mom was like, "Are you serious? No,
That is amazing.
I thought you
Cracker
cooked."
Barrel's
No. My only gripe
I
was
love
they had
Cracker Barrel.
onions in their gravy, so we had to make our own gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah, onions suck.
Joe's racist
That-
against onions.
Gravy
To hear
sucks.
more about how Joe feels about onions, please visit our previous episode, Onions Suck.
Anyway, we got more games to talk about. Should we move on with the reviews?
Sure,
All
I
right.
guess.
All right, next game to talk about is Astlibra Revision, developed by KEIZO, published by WhisperGames, released November 16th on the Switch for $24.99. Also available on PC, which is the version we are covering. Confront time and fate in the 2D action RPG Astlibra Revision. Explore meticulously crafted worlds, fight brutal boss battles, upgrade your skills to take down enemies lurking around every corner. Chris, tell us about your time with Astlibra Revision.
Yeah, meticulously crafted. You hear that? Not procedurally generated. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yay.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a chip on my shoulder about that or anything. It's just it feels like it's been a while since I've looked at I requested this one, full disclosure, and it's literally that I was like, "Oh, they made world the dungeons and stuff. Like it's not just assets." I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll try this." So yeah, Astlibra is a game that just came out on Switch, which is why I requested it. So we got the Steam version, so I played that.
Sorry, Chris.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. But yeah, the Steam version's about a year old now. So if it's weird that I'm reviewing a game that's a year old, just know that we tried. We tried to get the new one. This is a side-scrolling action RPG explorative action-y thing. I think that... Oh yeah, Purnell's not here. I can call it a Metroidvania. It's a Metroidvania. Literally, it's got double jumps and everything. So yeah, it's a really interesting one because, well, for one, it offers to give you a demo, or it offers to have you play through the demo before you actually start the real game. It's like, hey, the demo will show you how to do all the combat. Do you want to play through the demo? And I was like, okay. And so it started me in like the first area with like all this like equipment and spells and stuff and just kind of overwhelmed me. And then I got to somebody who was selling like top end equipment, but it didn't really cost anything. And I was like, what the hell is this? I got so confused that I just turned it off. And then the next day I came in and just started a new game. And turns out you get the same tutorials if you just start a game. You just don't have all this end game equipment and like magic and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is way better. Why did they even offer that? So yeah, it's a game that starts off with a long story part that they warn you about. They're like, do you want to skip the beginning story? It's kind of long. And I'm like, have some confidence in yourself, video game. I'm here. I clicked play on this, like everybody else. I have a Steam library of hundreds of games, and I picked you. So yeah, go ahead and tell me your story, man. And it's about a boy who escapes his village, which is being burned down, and he's with a girl, but they get separated, and then the boy ends up in like this, waking up with not enough memories or something. In a house in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's so far out that he can't run and see any other houses or anything like that without getting tired and collapsing. So he does this and is rescued by a raven who may be more than he seems.
Ooh.
But because the raven can read books and talk, and also has no memories, so this raven doesn't even know who he is. And yeah, you both kind of team up and hit the road looking for this girl, the village, any other humans at all. They end up traveling for 8 years before they end up seeing another human, and that's where the story kind of begins, because now you're an adult and you can fight with a stick. Because like the first time you run into an enemy, the crow finds you a stick, and that's your first weapon. And so yeah, then you eventually find another character. That's kind of a false start to the story because that character disappears, and then you end up at the village where they are having trouble that has to do with the local dungeon. And now your true RPG adventure can start. So this is a game that is very it's hard to call it anything but like a kind of on the Castlevania side of things. Like it's all about the action. It's all about the weapons. Each weapon does something different. You learn new moves. You unlock new skills. You have a double jump that you can unlock from the beginning if you skip unlocking many other things, which is kind of fun. They kind of dangle the double jump in front of you. So in my that kind of throws off my start to double jump meter by which I judge all these games, because you can have the double jump almost right away, but you'll be giving up like most of the other things that you'll be able to do for a few levels anyway. But here's the thing about this game is that it rules, and everything has some kind of meaning in it from what you do in this game. So what I mean by that is that you gain levels, and you get to put jewels on a grid and raise your stats and stuff. Yes, that's all well and good. You can raise your strength, dexterity, HP, defense, luck, which gets you actually more experience tangibly rather than just being like a kind of invisible force. It's like literally they're like, you just get more experience if you put more points into this, so it's kind of an investment. And you're like, hell yeah. Also, there's a lot of luck involved in enemy drops as well, which we'll get to. On top of that, every weapon, every armor, every shield also has a level that can be gained. And if And it's just by using them. Having them equipped and fighting, like, gains you levels on your weapon, your armor, and your shield. And I do mean every individual weapon, armor, and shield. Like, so, you know, if you have weak equipment, or if you come across weak equipment, you're still going to want to get it and equip it at some point. Because when you master a piece of equipment, it unlocks not only a skill, but a skill point that you can put into that skill. So like 4 skill points for the double jump, for instance. A piece of armor may unlock a skill that allows you to see enemy like information, like what they're weak to or something like that. And that costs like 2 skill points. There's all kinds. It's just grid upon grid of different skills that are going to be unlocked. Like it looks like about 100 skills. So there's no incentive to get the biggest and best. You want it all. Like, if you want to like really, you know, make your ideal character. And again, mastering it is how you progress. It's not just gaining levels. It's using your variety of equipment, which gets you to like kind of learn how to use that equipment and how to like really not ignore anything, you know, kind of leave no stone unturned. And this would normally be tedious, but the action is really good in the game. Even at the easiest level, by the way, there's 5 difficulty levels, including like, I think the hardest level is called Impossible.
Is it easy?
Well, when I put it on easy, it was kind of easy, but still enemies are tanks. Like, you know, you really do have to build up your strength and stuff to really whittle them down. Except, here's the thing. So, you know, I was going on and I was getting these enemy drops, and there's a book that you can get as well that teaches you crafting. And so if you get certain items, you can craft them into other items on the fly. And so here's a scenario. I defeat an enemy, like a bat or something, and instead of dropping the usual wooden box that I can just open, or a regular chest that I can open with a purchasable copper key, it drops a gold chest. I need a gold key for this chest. And so...
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. So what I do is I have a key mold A, which is a mold for making a copper key. But the thing is, if I mix that with another item, then, you know, that's in my recipe book, then I can upgrade the key mold. And so I do that, and then I combine that second level key mold with a piece of gold, and that turns into a gold key, and now I can unlock the chest. See, it's all about not only finding the drops, but you have to like have items on hand and a willingness to like just kind of craft them. And they craft up real quick, and there's no like skill involved there. It's just if it's in your book, you can make it. And as you gather items, they kind of automatically say, hey, you can combine these two and it may do something. So really, really cool that way. And then, yeah, once you... so I did that. I opened the gold thing. It unlocked a recipe for a badass sword with like an epic name that I could then purchase in a store if I had 2 pieces of bone, 2 muffins, and 2 copper pieces of copper. And so I knew how to make the muffins.
To build a sword.
Yeah, well, they're called sponge cakes, but the picture of them is muffins. And
interesting.
Yeah, there's actually another a charm that I made, like a gold goblet kind of cup thing that involved regular cookies. I had to do cookies as part of the recipe. I don't know why that is, but it amused me. And again, I knew how to make the sponge cake and the cookies, so I was good to go. And then once I got this sword, it's this huge copper thing that's like 3 times as powerful as the most powerful thing I could buy up to that point. It's as large as my character, and it's a slow swinging like great sword, but as it leveled up, it gets a little quicker. And then I just like adjusted my strategy, and now I'm just like wailing on everything with this sword. And it's like, it's so cool that just dropped from an enemy, you know, randomly. So speaking of enemies and randomly, so... You know, like I said, you go into the local dungeon. Well, the first one anyway, there's actually several. And yeah, it's just this big, epic, sprawling thing that it was called the Libra Cave, by the way. And the first thing that you come across is a rock formation that looks like the scale, like the astrological sign. And like for real, this dungeon like seemed like it was such a big deal that I was like, well, they called it Astlibra. Is this like one of those things where it's just one dungeon and I just keep going down? And then I like looked at a gameplay video and I'm like, nope, there's lots of stuff in this game, lots of backdrops. Kind of reminded me of Ys 3 a little bit, but maybe a little bit longer. Anyway, yeah, you go through this game and do this stuff. Like I said, it is meticulously crafted. The dungeons are. They have puzzles. Some of the puzzles involve doing kind of not random stuff, but like they give you clues that are a little bit cryptic, and like you have to use like things like the environment to solve the puzzle. So I won't give away any spoilers there, but yeah, the like first big puzzle you come across is a real brain teaser until you actually figure it out. And you're like, oh, you actually do have to interact with the world in different ways. This is very clever. And yeah, indeed, in looking around on the internet, people have been loving this game for like the last year. It's just, lots of articles about the best game you never played, and like, lots of 5 out of 5s on Steam and stuff. And actually, there's one pretty recent review on Steam. I'm going to go ahead and steal this quote to kind of cap off my review. This is from a person, I don't really know their name, but they have 72.6 hours on record with this game. They posted this a few days ago. It just says, Astlibra is the most video game. That's it.
That's a good quote.
Yeah.
I like that there is another one that just says digital heroin.
Yeah. No, for real, when I started in on this game, I'm glad I played the other 2 games first, because I planned on like kind of brushing up on all 3 of my games yesterday, and then instead I just sunk 3.5 hours straight into this one. That's
very nice.
Like without even realizing it, it's just one of those kind of games where you're just like, well, I could just keep playing this until I pass out.
Well, it clocks in at $24.99, although on Steam it is on sale for the next week for $19.99. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm definitely buying the Switch version myself, so that definitely gives it a buy it. Yeah, like I said, it was cool to play the Switch version, and absolutely, there's no performance issues to speak of or anything like that. I didn't run across any glitches or, and it ran on my machine just fine. But yeah, this is one I was aiming for on the Switch, and I'm really, really glad I checked it out, because it's even better than I thought it was going to be. So this is a buy it, every penny. If it comes out physically, go pay the extra physical bucks too.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Delicious Dungeon, developed and published by Digital Cauldron, released November 3rd on Steam for $13.99. Delicious Dungeon is a combination of action, adventure, and sim game. The player is the owner of a local restaurant in a fantasy world, but to run the restaurant, they have to explore dungeons full of dangers and enemies to get ingredients needed to cook delicious meals for their guests. Our friend Andy Sperry wrote in a review, this is what he's got to say. If I were to describe Delicious Dungeon to someone well-versed in various gaming styles, I'd sum it up as a fusion of Moonlighter, Monster Hunter, and Overcooked. However, recognizing that this might not make sense to the average gamer or those unfamiliar with gaming, let's delve deeper into the gameplay to provide a clearer understanding. The Delicious Dungeon, developed by Digital Cauldron, is a casual action roguelike. Players assume the role of a thrill-seeking adventurer during the day and the kitchen enthusiast by night. Embark on a journey into the dungeons surrounding your serene hometown in pursuit of the freshest and finest ingredients. Battle monsters using your kitchen tools, then utilize the acquired items to craft the latest and most delectable culinary masterpieces. As you delve deeper into each forested dungeon area, the items you discover become increasingly exquisite. Someone uses a thesaurus on this one. Traversing the randomly generated dungeons involves collecting ingredients like onions, potatoes, wheat, sugar, and even monster meat. Each dungeon varies in size, and a pre-selected difficulty gauge allows players to choose between easy mode and nightmare for an edge or ease of play. At the end of each dungeon, a powerful boss awaits, ranging from the mighty Krakor Gigantic Crab to the twin monkeys Basra and Besma, armed with weapons like the knife hammer or bone spear and accompanied by a small beetle companion with a long-range attack. Defeating the boss unlocks new recipes and challenges. Back in town after a day of dungeon diving, the adventure continues as players take on the role of a master chef. Access your spoils in the kitchen pantry and open the restaurant with a selection of menu items each night. Utilize the oven, stove, cauldron, and prep station to create the finest meals, with each station featuring a unique cooking minigame. Earn reputation from customers and money, which can be used to upgrade character stats, kitchen stations, and purchase more ingredients. the game progresses, business management opportunities arise, and the option to hire other dungeoneers or cooks become available. While Delicious Dungeon is well crafted, it isn't without its flaws. The gameplay is straightforward, but may take a few tries to get used to the button combinations in the menus. Battles feel fluid with indicators on enemies showing when attack is imminent, but the fixed camera angle leads to frustrating moments of unexpected attacks across from the room. Some minor bugs were encountered, and certain menu screens seem purposeless or challenging to access. A few items were lost because I wasn't aware of how to use or retrieve them from a storage box. Overall, Delicious Dungeon seamlessly combines cozy kitchen management with fast-paced action, catering to both aspects of my personal gaming enjoyment. Priced only $13.99, it offers a delightful experience from start to finish, a journey of fighting monsters, gathering materials, and creating the ultimate dish. So that sounds like a pretty good one.
They had a completely different opinion of that game than I did.
Did you play Delicious Dungeon?
Yeah, I was going to tag in with Andy on it.
Oh, I forgot that you got the other code. Tell us about your thoughts.
Well, I enjoyed the gameplay of it. However, there wasn't... I couldn't figure out how to advance in the game. You start off with the ability to enter one dungeon. You start off with one recipe, and you can't get any upgrades for your weapons. I eventually beat that first dungeon, and then that was still the only dungeon I had to explore. I didn't have any upgrades that I could get. I couldn't find any other recipes. I have no idea how to continue in the game. It's just repeating the same thing I've done over and over and over and over. And I don't know what I've missed. So I'm going to need to get in touch with Andy and figure out what the hell happened. Because like, I enjoy what's there, but all I got for like 4 hours was the same thing over and over and over and over, and that's it. And I was just like, well, that gets boring pretty quick. I don't know how to continue the game.
Oh, well, it's $14. What are your thoughts? Think it's something worth investing in, or maybe hold off, wait for a sale? What do you think?
From my experience with it, I would say wait for a sale. It is fun to play, but since I can't figure out how to access any of the content in it, because the game doesn't really tell you anything, I have to say it's a sale only. If you want it, only get it on a sale.
All right. Alrighty, moving on. Next game is Teardown, developed by Tuxedo Labs, published by Saber Interactive, released November 15th on Xbox Series X and S and PS5 for $29.99. Also available as part of PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers. Prepare the perfect heist in the simulated and fully destructible voxel world. Tear down walls with vehicles or explosives to create shortcuts, stack objects to reach higher. Use the environment to your advantage in the most creative ways you can think of. Jacob, what is Teardown?
So Teardown is a voxel based, which means for you that are unfamiliar, it kind of looks like a Minecraft-ish kind of world. And with it, the whole world is pretty much destructible. You just have to figure out how to blow everything up or set fire to everything. And the game does not make that particularly easy at the very beginning. And I should clarify, there is like a story mode to it, but there is also like a sandbox kind of thing. And with the story mode, like there is kind of a story. It moves very slow, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little caught off guard. Like, this is one of those things where I feel like I should have read the previews for it instead of just watching a single trailer, because the trailer just shows tons of shit just blowing up everywhere, like all over the place. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, this is actually a heist game, kind of like a stealth game. And then usually what happens is that you have to set off an alarm and then grab all the other required pieces within like the set amount of time that you have to escape before like the security comes in. But once you get past that kind of stuff, like you're suddenly dealing with like weird stuff like UFOs and tornadoes. But it's just like, you just gotta like get to that point. And the game does slowly progress with like extra tools that you're given, but of course they can only be used so much. Like, I mean, you could be given like a bazooka, but obviously it's going to make a lot of noise and it's going to explode lots of stuff, and it's probably going to set off the fire alarms. The fire alarms get set off. That means that the security wire gets tripped. And so you end up having to like wander around and get the layout of an area first, and fail a lot. You're going to fail a lot during the beginning. It's annoying. And I honestly had to watch a few YouTube tutorials to figure out what the heck I needed to do, because the game doesn't really tell you what exactly you have to do. But yeah, that being said, like, the campaign's okay, if not a little misleading as to what it's going to be. But once the game lets you get crazy, it's totally awesome to get crazy in this game. And that really shines in the sandbox mode, where you can, I mean, it still operates by like the same laws of like, like you're not going to be able to destroy like metal grating in front of a window with like just like a block of wood, like you're going to have to get something stronger to get rid of it. But like just watching crap explode and set fire and all that other kind of stuff, it's pretty satisfying. So if like you ever watch like somebody play Minecraft and we're just like, man, I wish I could destroy this more efficiently, Teardown's where you want to be. Like,
I've heard that the game is a lot of fun, but it really shines in sandbox compared to the campaign. Like, the campaign is too limiting. There's too many restrictions on what you have to accomplish in the time frame that you're given.
It's too much stealth and speedrunning. Like, I'm glad I got to review this because it is fun, but I'm not going to lie. If I had known what the campaign was going to be like beforehand, I might not have I would have been far more hesitant to be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to play this. But I'm glad I did. But honestly, like, for my recommendation, I would say buy it. Just know what you're getting into.
Well, as mentioned previously, it is on PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers. So if you have that, you could just download it and try it. So
yeah, there you go.
$30 your official verdict.
Oh, well, I mean, that's actually cheaper than I thought it would be. Yeah, I'd recommend it.
I mean, they do have a deluxe edition for $40 and an ultimate edition for $50 that comes with the season pass. The season pass is $30 by itself, so you're saving $10 right there if you buy the ultimate edition. What are your thoughts on the DLC?
What's in the DLC?
Season pass has Time Campers DLC available at launch, Bulk Race DLC available spring 2024, 2 additional DLCs available by the end of 2024, and a robot.
I mean, probably. I mean, who wouldn't want a robot?
Yeah, the robot looks cool. All right, next game is In Stars in Time, developed by Insert Disc 5, published by Armor Game Studio, released November 20th on Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Live with the ever-present burden of being trapped in a time loop only you can know about in this turn-based RPG. Create a better future for you and your friends, find hope where there is none left, pray to the stars, and free yourself from time. Chris, what is In Stars and Time?
Okay, so In Stars in Time is a turn-based RPG, kind of a roguelite with a twist. You start off the game at the end of the game. You are Sifrin, who is a eye patch wearing hero who has befriended and, kind of formed a found family with these other characters, one of which is very important because, her name's Mirabelle, because she is immune to, there's a big evil guy, and the evil king or whatever that you're going to fight in his final dungeon. And Mirabelle is immune to what the evil king can do, which is to freeze people in time. And, you basically, you go through the town and discover all kinds of stuff, talk to people, interact with your friends, that you've made along the way. Like I said, it's a lot of the stories is kind of told through flashbacks and things like that. Once you get to the dungeon, then your main character, who is usually very good about, kind of doing sneaky stuff like disarming traps and things like that, falls victim to a trap and dies. And then wakes up and the game has started all over again. The same, like, kind of Groundhog Day style, right? Like, you can change your dialogue choices, but everybody else is coming up to you and saying the same things. And this is very confusing. But eventually you meet another character who kind of helps explain it in a very convenient way, that essentially you're being moved back in time every time you die, and you have a chance to change the outcome of what has happened. So in that sense, it turns the game into, like I said, a roguelite, where every time you die, you start the dungeon over. However, your character, Sifrin, maintains any experience gained, and any dialogue choices are kept, like kind of, they gray them out. Well, I would say gray them out. The whole game is gray. It's a black and white video game, but I mean, like, they're faded out, and you can tell which ones you've done before. It even lets you speed up dialogue that you've heard before, and eventually, once you get into the dungeon a little ways, then dying, you can just start the dungeon over instead of starting the entire game, including the prologue over, which is, thank God. That definitely was a smart move. Really, there's a lot of smart moves in this game. It was done by one developer who goes by the company name Insert Disc 5, which I really enjoy as a name for something. And the developer of this game is a queer biracial person who developed a similar game on Steam before. That was kind of like I think this is like an improved reimagining of it, if not like a direct sequel. I'm not even too sure, but they made a different game that was also black and white and also featured this time loop kind of technology and stuff. And the game is very much written that way. All your characters, have pronouns. They even have discussions about pronouns. Lots of different people are represented. It's very, 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 very progressive in pretty much every sense. Your main character is he/they, So that's pretty cool. And like I said, the writing of the game is really where the strength is, because it's all about the character interactions and the way they talk to each other, and the way that your particular predicament kind of changes certain things about the storytelling. It's not really all about going through the dungeons and doing the battles and stuff. In that sense, it's very Undertale-esque. That is to say, Undertale is kind of like, it has battles, but it's kind of like you're not really in it for that. Nobody plays Undertale for like the gameplay. But this, and kind of like that, this one presents a, unique. No, not really. Unique. It's actually not unique, but it is different. They kind of have a different representation in the actual RPG battles. It's all done with rock, paper, scissors. And literally your characters are like rock type or paper type or scissor type. Like, it's all ingrained into the characters, like actual battle stats and things like that. And so their special moves are going to be of those types. And of course, each type has an opposite type. The game spends a lot of time in text explaining to you what rock, paper, scissors is. And I was a little bit aghast at that. But, because I was already on like half an hour of dialogue, and I was just like, you don't need to give me a tutorial about rock, paper, and scissors that's not optional. Please let me get into this dungeon. But I mean, they do anyway, so that's just how it goes. And anyway, so when you fight enemies, and they're not random battles, enemies are on the map, although when they see you, they will chase you. And because this is an RPG Maker game, you don't really have like the fluidity of motion to be able to like turn corners really quickly or anything. So they will likely catch you if an enemy sees you. And once they do, the actual portrait of the enemy, because it's different enemies. They're all represented on screen as blobs, but once you fight them, then they're actual enemies, kind of like Zelda 2. And once you get into the character portrait, you can actually look at their hands, and they will be doing like the rock, paper, or scissors kind of motion. And so without having to really be told, this monster has 2 fingers out. This is a scissors type of monster, so we need to focus on rock attacks. Which your big defender character, he's got most of the rock moves. But you have a mage in your party who's got all 3 kinds of moves. So it's like it's well balanced in that way.
Are any of the rock attacks rockets?
No. It's mostly they're just descriptions like that are based on the character's personalities. So like your mage has like rock 3 and paper 3 and scissors 3, right? Like, Final Fantasy style. Your main character is supposed to be kind of a pun character, so it's like, and he's also a scissor type, so he's got moves like knife to see you and things like that. So, yeah, it's sigh worthy. It's one of those kind of things that I think is very funny, especially in what I see in independent games sometimes, but just RPGs in general, where the game will describe a character as hilarious and obsessed with puns or something like that, but it's never actually, the character never actually does any jokes and very few puns, or it's just like the most basic stuff. And I'm just like, if you're going to say with your words that a character is a certain way, then, you got to write some jokes. I'm sorry. Can't just describe them as a jokester. But anyways, that was a similar thing in Undertale actually. But anyways, so yeah, like then there's actually mechanically some other cool things about it. Is that if you can get 5 moves in a row that use the same type, which again, like your main character doesn't have a rock move, and nor does your healer, but you've got 2 other rock moves, for instance. But if you get 5, the thing is about these characters though is that each of them have a buff move that they can use to skip their turn, or they can just straight up skip their turn, or they can do something else. Like one of them can, like for instance, heal, or just guard or something. Basically, though, if you line it up where you can get 5 of the same type of move in a row, all 4 of your characters do a super move, which will not only destroy the enemy, but it will heal your party, including raising party members who have died. So you've got a real big incentive to, like, in battles that seem to be more drawn out, to do that, especially since, items are scarce and you don't have them when you start the game over again. You have to either go grab the items or, just kind of know that you're going to get pushed into something that's going to kill you. In this game, like my first several deaths were actually forced upon me by the plot. Like I was doing really good on the actual playing the game, but the game will force you to die in order to move the story along. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Yeah, so that's kind of how that was. But like I said, fortunately, you don't have to start the entire game over every time you die. And it does, like I said, begin to affect things like, and that's kind of where the strength in the writing is the ways that the meta game, in a sense, is kind of like affecting your character. So for that, I give it kudos. And really, overall, like, if anything sounds like it's a complaint, this is an RPG Maker game. I'm very impressed with what was accomplished in this title. So very cool.
Well, it clocks in at $20. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of game that you're wanting to play if, again, if you're like an Undertale fan, a fan of like sensitive writing, and it is actually written pretty humorously. I didn't mean to say that like it's missing jokes. It has plenty of jokes. It's just your main character isn't the kind of joker that he's described as in the text. It's a weird thing there. But no, like it's a very, very charming game if you're into that. It's not a true roguelite or roguelike in any sense. It's like it's narratively making you start a dungeon over again in order to tell a story. So it's really more of a thing of like, it's a buy it for people who want to check out the story and the writing and, kind of really get to enjoy the characters. They're very enjoyable characters, so I really like that. Folks looking for like a fantastic like JRPG experience or whatever, your $20 will be spent better elsewhere. Chained Echoes. But yeah, I'd say though that this is definitely a very well put together piece of software and definitely worth your time. Again, depending on where your kind of priorities are with playing through a game like this. So I'm ultimately giving it a buy it. I'm just letting you know that there's a little bit of a caveat to that.
I gotta say, AEW and the Acclaimed ruined the word scissoring for me, because all I think of is wrestling now, and scissor me, daddy. I think it's
They haven't made that joke yet in the game. It doesn't seem to be that kind of game, but I don't know. I'm looking for it. I didn't play through all of it.
All right, well, moving on. Next game is Ebenezer in the Invisible World, developed by Orbit Studio and Play on Worlds, published by Play on Worlds, released November 3rd on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Embark on a story-rich 2D Metroidvania adventure with breathtaking hand-drawn art, playing as miser-turned-hero Ebenezer Scrooge in a reimagined Victorian fantasy based on Charles Dickens' classic novel, A Christmas Carol. Enlist the help of ghosts, save the people of London before it's too late. This sounds like a unique premise. Our friend Andy Sperry wrote in a review.
I'm so jealous.
Well, we got it on PC, so... Ebenezer in the Invisible World, developed by Orbit Studio and Play on Worlds, is a new indie Metroidvania that has been released just in time for the holidays. The game follows the Christmas Carol protagonist, Ebenezer Scrooge, and his team of ghostly allies as they battle dark spirits, explore the city of London, and thwart the plans of the wealthy industrialist Caspar Malthus. The player controls Ebenezer, the now kind-hearted businessman from the holiday classic A Christmas Carol. As he navigates the streets of London and beyond, he is aided by spirits of the past, present, and future who once helped him realize the trajectory of his own life. In addition to the familiar spirits, players can also unlock new and powerful ghostly allies like Buster Bailey, Flossie Reed, or Bruce Hagen, who lend their power to Ebenezer as special attacks or abilities. These abilities increase Ebenezer's movement in the form of double jump, spectral dash, downward slams, and many more. There are also familiar allies known as Spirit Kids who heal, attack, or block for Ebenezer. Discover these ghostly allies and other wandering spirits with unfinished business, completing quests for them and their loved ones, each with a unique backstory. The game's world is beautifully crafted with hand-drawn graphics that evoke the feel of Victorian London. Players can explore the city's streets, asylum, observation tower, and the Malthus family factory, all while enjoying a beautifully themed soundtrack with a Christmas flair. In the game, you can use your spectral abilities to explore new and uncharted areas or discover hidden secrets such as heirlooms or spirit weapons. Heirloom items can improve Ebenezer's speed damage, rare item drops, spirit, or even allow him to breathe underwater. One of those upgrades. You can also collect smaller items like iron, crystal glass, and lavender by destroying parts of the environment or defeating enemies. These items can be used to upgrade your health and spirit attack bar. Ebenezer in the Invisible World features a wide variety of enemies to keep players engaged, as well as ghostly bosses that offer some challenging gameplay. One of the most unique and enjoyable aspects of the game is the health recovery consumables, which come in the form of plum pudding, mashed potatoes, or turkey. Ebenezer in the Invisible World is a delightful Metroidvania filled with charm. While a few quality of life improvements could further enhance the experience, it was overall very engaging and enjoyable. It took me just under 10 hours to finish. The game is available on all platforms, offers a new story of Ebenezer Scrooge's life as he attempts to pass on his knowledge to those around him. I would highly recommend this Metroid version of A Christmas Carol to fans of similar gameplay. This one looks awesome. I want to get my hands on this one because it looks just ridiculously enjoyable.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool too. I just didn't want to play it on a PC.
Yeah. Aki, what are your thoughts? Because I know you were interested in it.
It looked really cool. I like the visual design of it, how they animated things, and just the overall look of all the characters was really cool.
Yeah.
And I am so sad I didn't get to play this.
Well, there's something you did get to play, because the next game is No Place Like Home, developed by Awaken Realms, published by Merge Games, released August 21st on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, Switch, and PC for $24.99. Welcome to No Place Like Home. No Place Like Home is a cute and relaxing sim. You play as Ellen Newland, a girl who decides to visit her grandfather on Earth for the very last time before she moves to Mars. However, she soon discovers that her grandpa is missing and that his farm was recently destroyed. Aki, what is going on in No Place Like Home?
Okay, so some of y'all might think, hey, this game sounds familiar. That's because I reviewed the beta of it like 3 years ago on Steam, forever ago. And I really liked it then. So you might be able to guess maybe what I'm going to say. In this, you play as Ellen, and in this world, we have wallied the planet. So, kind of like we're wallying it right now. And she gets a letter from her grandfather saying, hey, before you head off to Mars, come visit me one more time. I'd like to, spend some time with you, because apparently he's decided he's going to go down with the ship. I don't know. So you're like, okay, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Let's go visit Granddad. He's great. Blah, blah, blah. You go there. He's nowhere to be found. Instead, you find a talking chicken. A literal talking chicken. Like it just a standard chicken. It talks, and it wears a hat and a backpack, and it's adorable. And that chicken gives you your first quest, to find the farm book. Because, talking is the least a chicken can do, and if you don't know that, whoo boy, you're in a lot of trouble. So you got to go find that book of farming, because that's apparently one of the first things it tells you are chickens can talk. I don't know what kind of LSD your character's on, but man, I'd love some of that. So the main mechanic of this game is that you have a drill and a vacuum a la Luigi's Mansion. And there's a bunch of trash as far as the eye can see, and then beyond that. And you are now little Miss Sanitation Worker. Have fun. You find big old clumps of trash that's just sitting around. You can vacuum it up, and other ones are in like cubed form, so you have to break them with the drill and then suck them up. And you get to clear entire areas of all the junk. As you can tell, I have a very specific set of things I like doing, and that is removing all the shit from everywhere. So this game really piqued my interest. You occasionally come across a few of the other people who are living in this general area. I would say in the city, but it's not really a city anymore, because this place is like, you have a farm, and there's this city that's like 5 houses. All of them have been destroyed. And then there's a bunch of surrounding areas, and you find people spotted throughout it on occasion. Usually one person per area. And there's like 7, I think, areas. And there's all this trash that you get to clean up. And then you can bring it to a machine that will recycle it into crafting parts that you can use to create other things, like more recyclers, because you fucking need them, because you got so much shit to recycle. And eventually you can find some animals that are around, and you can figure out how to tame them so you can start getting food items that you can turn into meals. Some of them will, increase your health for a little while. Others will make you faster. Some will make your attacks harder. You might be like, attacks? What are you fighting? Well, occasionally you find some little shit-headed robots that just spit all the acid and spray poison gas at you, because they're little assholes. So you have to go around, and you can either swing your drill and whack them, which does a lot of damage, or you can drill into them, which for some reason does minuscule amounts of damage. And then they explode, and you can take a battery, because video game logic, and I love it. The robots, they don't really change. You're basically fighting the same robots throughout the entire time. Sometimes they'll have larger ones that can reach further, or sometimes they'll be a little armored, and you have to suck the armor off of them, and the armor is just more trash. Literally, they just have trash strapped to them, which is hilarious. And that's basically all the enemy types. It's just ones that walk up to you and spray you with poison gas, and ones that shoot globs of it at you from a distance. And that's really all there is in enemy wise. Majority of the game is really just clean up everything, or as much as you want. But realistically, if you're playing this game, you're going to clean up everything because OCD. And yeah, you can pick up a bunch of different farm animals, from chickens all the way to cows to helping foxes get into their own little nice place where they can live and be happy and free. And they'll give you, some seeds for fruits, which is kind of cool. And yeah, you get to interact with people. They'll give you some quests. The problem with this game lies in that this still feels very much like a beta, even though it's not. Yeah. It's been out for a long time at this point. You can absolutely, totally, and irrevocably fuck the storyline, because you can do quests before they're given to you, and therefore you can do them out of order. You can find things for quests that are supposed to happen much later on, never get the introduction to the quest, but be able to give them the items as though they've given you the quest, which is great. So you can always continue forward and you can always solve everything, but it kind of screws up the story because you don't get a lot of introductions to things that would further the story. Instead, you just, here's a problem that I solved, and apparently you were supposed to tell me about this. Oopsie. There's also issues with sometimes some of the quest items. There's more of them than there are ones needed. And if you turn it in and then find one of the extra parts, it's now just a permanent item that you can't really get rid of because you can't destroy it and you can't throw it away. So that's fun. I've only done that a few times. Again, because you break everything. Well, I break everything. It's my specialty. But yeah, I really like how the game plays. It's fun. It's really relaxing. There's 3 different game modes that you can choose from. There's the easy, which is what the game is supposed to be played on. There's challenging, which just makes everything hit harder and take more damage. It's otherwise still a very easy game. And then there's basically creative mode, which is just free mode. You can buy everything immediately for nothing and just cakewalk through the entire game. I chose to play it on easy because I didn't know if creative would give me achievements. Lots of the achievements are just for, hey, collect this much trash. Hey, kill this many enemies. It's not even, hey, get through this part of the story, which kind of surprised me. I'm not against it because, like, with I got the game yesterday, and I'm already at like 24 or 26 out of 30 something achievements.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, granted, I didn't sleep last night either because I really like destroying things and cleaning areas. I am kind of addicted to games like this. These are problem games for me. And I will not rest until there is absolutely no more trash to clean up in any area in this entire game. And that's the thing. When you leave an area and come back to it, the stuff that you got rid of is still gone. It doesn't come back. So once you've cleaned an area, it's clean. And it is so good. And I like that. Because lots of games, you leave an area, you come back, and all the shit's back. This one, if you clean it, it is gone.
Yay.
Yes. And yeah. So, it's a cute little fun game. You get upgrades by having different items and creating preservatives as money in the game. And yeah, so you might need like, oh, hey, we need 50 preservatives, and oh yeah, I need a carrot, and you can have this upgrade. So you have to wait until you get carrot seeds and plant those and grow them, which takes a couple in-game days. But you can just go back into the house, go to sleep, wake up, go out there, water it, go back to sleep, and just repeat that cycle until it's done. I've done that many times because I am very lazy and I do not like waiting. So yeah, so all the upgrades are like that, be it for machine upgrades, because all your machines, you have to learn the recipe to create them in the first place, and then you have to learn the upgraded versions. So you have to wait until you get the items necessary to get the upgraded version, so on and so forth. There's also upgrades to your gear itself, like you can eventually get upgrades that make your drill stronger, not just in attack, but also to where it can destroy a wider variety of things. Usually you'll come across a bunch of material that you can't break through, and it's just a different type of rubbish. So you have to get an upgrade, and then you can break through it. And then you come across another one that you can't break through, and you just do that a couple times until you have it all. Sometimes it's like, oh, you can hold more water, or, oh, here's one that lets you move faster or gives you more health. Things like that. They're really simple ones. There's only a few in each one of these areas. So it's pretty nice. And you can get everything. That's kind of the point of the game. Farm your way to victory and clean up all of our shit, a la Wally.
Well, we got to talk price on this one. The game costs $24.99, all right?
Uh-huh.
But they sell a bundle that has No Place Like Home and Fresh Start for $22.49. So it's cheaper to get a bonus game. What are your thoughts?
Totally. Go get that. Go get that. Make that bread, yo. Get that game. It's a fantastic game. They do need some work on it, but even if they don't ever fix these issues, the game is really fun, especially if you're one of those people that just likes to just do shit and clean areas. Like, if you're one of those people who are like, oh yeah, I like that pressure washer simulator game, this is a game for you. You're going to love it. The story is really irrelevant at that point. You just want to clean the area, and that's where I am. I am so totally for this game. It is great. Go be that sanitation worker, yo. Be that Wally and kick ass.
All right, sounds good. Moving on. 9 Years of Shadows. Developed by Halberd Studios, published by Freedom Games. Released November 9th on the Switch for $19.99. Fight to bring beautiful colors back to a handcrafted world of darkness and discover the story of Europa, a young warrior and her ghostly childhood companion, Apino. Chris, what is going on in 9 Years of Shadows?
Childhood companion? Huh. It didn't really explain that in the game. There's a lot that's not explained in this game. Let's talk about it. So yeah, this is another Metroidvania kind of style game. However, I was actually I was kind of amused at having, played in Stars in Time and then having played Astlibra and then loading up 9 Years of Shadows, and it starts off with a hero on a 9-year journey, not an 8-year journey, and also, like, when you start the game, it's all in black and white. And I was like, this is just all mixing together for me now, man. But it turns out that it's a different game entirely. It's just a huge coincidence, like what usually happens when I review more than one game in an episode. It's just all these coincidences. So yeah, you play this very Castlevania-like game as Europa, who is a lady who she lost her parents to the big evil years ago, 9 years ago. I was gonna say years ago, like there's not a specific number. And she has been plotting her revenge, training up in the ways of the gigantic golden axe for these 9 years. She goes to assault the I guess it's a giant robot Talos, but it's like a big, I don't know, it seems like a castle or something. It's a little confusing when you like to know what's going on at first. It's also stylized is the thing. But anyway, she goes in, fights a demon, gets her ass handed to her, and then is revived by a talking raven. I mean, by her spirit pal Apino, who is a floating teddy bear. This is a little cute little teddy bear. It looks like the Snuggle Bear from the dryer sheets. You remember?
Snuggle Bear, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. 90s kids will remember, and only them. Anyways. But it revives you, and then it turns out that this companion is the secret ingredient that you need to maneuver around this big old place. because this little bear is not only equipped with magical healing friendship power, it also has freaking lasers. And so you aim him with the while you're moving around with the stick and the stuff. Your right stick will control the bear, and then you can aim it at enemies or doors that are covered in darkness and shoot your magical laser beam of lasers at it to move on, kind of like your Metroid missiles, you know. And this then presents a really interesting kind of gameplay element, and that is to say that your buddy's magical laser power doubles as both being something that you can expend to shoot lasers, but it's also kind of your shield, because for all her training, Europa only starts off with 2 hits before she is dead. They're represented by 2 jewels in an axe that's on the screen. It's not the axe you're fighting with; it's just like an axe meter, and the handle of the axe is your laser power. And so if you get hit by an enemy and you have laser power, it will expend the laser power like a shield. But once you're out of laser power, then you've only got 2 more hits before you're dead. However, if you can get away from the action long enough, and you're completely out of laser power, you can hold down the right trigger button to give your little snuggle bear pal a hug, and that will revive most of the laser power. So this has two like results. One is that you hug your little friend, and then you can just stay back and use the laser powers until he runs out. You know, jump away, hug your pal again, and then get back into the fray with the lasers. Or you can go in with the melee, get hit a couple of times, back away, get a nice little hug, and then back into the fray. It's it kind of forces you into a whole different kind of strategy, and it's very hard to heal your actual life outside of the save points, which are gigantic crystal organs, not organs like guts. I mean like like the piano organ, like the instrument. Which is kind of cool. Like, again, this game is extremely stylized, to the point that some things are just kind of abstract, which is why it's kind of hard to describe certain things in the game. But at the cusp of it, it's basically that your axe-wielding maniac and her snuggly little bear friend are going to go to town on a whole bunch of really cool-looking, like alien-looking guys, some of which are the whole ass screen-sized. And part of the Metroidvania mission is, of course, gaining new powers, including armors that are better against certain things, and basically not like straight up upgrades. I guess I don't really know. I didn't play far enough in it to really see my strength increase all that much. It kind of takes the same amount to hit everybody, but there's like no equipment screen is the thing. There's status screens with icons on it. So it's kind of like you get a new phone and there's no letters in it. There's no words. You just see all these like icons and stuff. And you're just like, I don't know what this does. And this game's like that, but most of them are grayed out because you just started the game. So it's kind of a mystery what all you can do in this game, but it is pretty intriguing. One of the things you can do is to rescue musicians who are in this place somehow. And they all kind of gather at this hall, and then they each do like something different for you, and that's kind of like how Castlevania Order of Ecclesia was, which is the final Igavania before he moved on to Bloodstained. It's my favorite Castlevania, actually, where you had to rescue a village full of people, and it turns out when you rescued all of them, then that was a special thing that affected the plot. So I assume it must be the same in this game. But yeah, like it's basically, it's a little weird in its presentation, but it's super cool. The action is really fluid, which I like. The gameplay mechanic is really interesting. It's intriguing to see what all is going to happen. Again, since your gameplay element is like alternating axe fighting and teddy bear laser shooting with hugs, it's definitely what I would call a unique experience. But also not really, because it's very reminiscent of like your favorite Castlevania games. They're just about all here in this weird ass little game. But Oh, there was the last thing I was going to say. Oh, the actual soundtrack. Yes. How could I forget? The soundtrack in this thing is amazing. It's like this over-the-top, rock-heavy, bass-heavy stuff. Like, there's just flying guitar solos. Well, no, yeah, I mean, there are. But, there's just, like, it's a bunch of rockin' good time music. And some of it was composed by Michiru Yamane, who is the composer for all those great Castlevania games that we all know and love. So this actually does have Castlevania people's hands in it, albeit in a kind of a guest starring role. Also one of the composers of one of the Metal Gears, which I'm not familiar with Metal Gear, so I can't really speak to that as much. But yeah, the soundtrack is super good on this one. That's actually where I first heard about it, because somebody posted it in my Facebook club for video game music. But yeah, that's basically all there is to say about it.
Nice. Well, it clocks in at $20. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, $20 is about the going price for a game like this. Like I said, I was really blown away by Astlibra, so it's very, it's almost unfair that I had both of these in the same week, so I can't be quite as, gushy about this one. However, it was a great time, and I do definitely think it's a buy it. Like I said, it's got a great style to it, it's fun to play, and it scratches that itch, so there you go.
Cool. All right, well, we got one final game to talk about tonight, and we're going into kids territory with Bluey, the video game developed by Artax Games, published by Outright Games. We are Outright ambassadors, and that is how we got the game. Released November 17th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $39.99. Play a brand new story set across 4 interactive adventures, explore iconic locations, play your favorite games from the TV show, and also play with your friends and family in local multiplayer. Jacob, what is Bluey, the video game?
So Bluey
Besides
is
Stevie's long worked upon magnum opus.
Exactly, and he is the biggest over at Outright Games. Stevie is the biggest fan. So if you ever drop in their Discord, make sure you tag him with a Bluey gif, okay? So Bluey is an Australian kids cartoon about a family of dogs, and just learning life lessons along the way as they go through normal everyday stuff. And it's an excellent show, not only for kids but also parents. And even though our oldest is kind of aged out of the target demographic, we still all watch it regularly. And in fact, I'm pretty sure my wife and I are more excited about new episodes than the kids are. And so with this game, we are presented with these 4 mini episodes, which have an overarching plot that the kids are on holiday, aka vacation for us Americans, and they're bored, and they find out that there's this treasure map that their dad had made when he was a kid, and they'll be able to locate a treasure nearby in the local forest where the dad banned it. That's his name. Where he grew up, and he had buried some stuff with his brothers. And so each of the sections is you getting a part of the map, and then the final section is you going to find out what the treasure is, and stuff like that. I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed with the plot. It kind of felt like a generic story that, almost any, it would have been, you could have popped it into any children's licensed book series. It could, this could have been a Sesame Street book. You could have made this a Care Bears book. It's a standard kids plot, but I was also still impressed at the end that they still managed to tie it into a very Bluey-esque ending, with there being a lesson for the kids, which I honestly, I was a little caught off guard by, because a lot of us parents and fans of Bluey are very protective of this IP, and it was just all right, well, somebody else is doing this. What are they going to do with it? But all in all, it the plot came out pretty well for that. Now the gameplay is fairly simple. It's you just moving around. Sometimes you'll be able to grab onto stuff, whether it is mission specific or if it's in a mini game, of which there are 4 different mini games. There is Ground is Lava, or sorry, I think they call it Ground is Lava in that one. There's Chattermax Chase, which is involving. It's kind of like a freeze tag, but also, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best way to describe it. There's that Keepy Uppy, which is you're just trying to keep a balloon up in the air for as many bounces as you possibly can. And then there's Magic Xylophone, which is also kind of like a freeze tag kind of thing. Although I think I'm getting that one wrong. I think there's a 4th minigame that's different. But anyway, whatever. And so there are these 4 different minigames that you can play throughout. The game's length, in all reality, is not particularly long, which I know may be a drawback for some folks, especially with the number of parents that I've talked to about this. Or not so much like talk to, because like it's just like I've been monitoring comments in one of the Bluey Facebook groups that I'm in for parents.
Of course, you're in a Bluey Facebook group.
I'll explain later when we're not recording. Anyway, so I know some people were disappointed by that, but in all honesty, like the game's aimed at kids, and yeah, they may be able to blow through it like in an hour or 2. But the fact of the matter is that like they're going to replay this a ton of times. There's a ton of stuff you could do. You can constantly play the mini games wherever you want to go, or almost wherever you want to go. And yeah, like it's a decently made game. The main faults of it is that, especially towards the end sections of the game, there's some definite like graphic clipping of like the different family members. Like they'll just get stuck on an object and like they'll just like keep like flashing in and out. Like this will happen with trees and seesaws. So hopefully that gets fixed, but it also presents a problem because sometimes you'll be the one that gets stuck and you'll have to go off and choose a different family member to play as just so you can get yourself unstuck. Sorry, I've been sick and so I'm having a coughing fit right now. Give me a second.
Good. All I have to say, good.
Suffer.
Sure, you deserve it.
Of course he does.
Anyway, so yeah, so as I was saying, the mini games can just be kind of like, but the big problem is that like, especially with a game like Chattermax Chase, which is the one that you have to like race around and like chase after this like little doll that like makes noise and music and stuff like that, which also kind of combines with freeze tag at the same time. One time Chattermax actually leapt out of the arena, and so like the other characters and I were just standing there for like 2 minutes until the timer ran out. And like we just had to wait. Like there was no way to make Chattermax respawn. Like I couldn't restart the game. It's just all right, well you have to wait. And during another thing with like Ground is Lava, if you're playing it in the park, for some reason you could get stuck on like one of the seesaws because if you touch the ground, it'll bounce you back to the last safe place that you were able to stand, which if it was the seesaw, if for some reason puts you in the middle of the seesaw and then you're just stuck there and you can't get out of this loop until the timer runs out. And I was comparing notes with somebody in the Outright Discord, and like this is something that's happening on the PS5 and the Xbox. So it's affecting multiple versions. It doesn't necessarily ruin it, but it's just like it's annoying how you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
But at least it's not like it locks up the game or like makes it so you can't progress. Like, so it's not game breaking, but it's still annoying. And I know my kids would immediately be like, oh my God, Dad, like, what are you going to do? How do we stop this? The game's glitching. I'm going to mess with all the Xbox settings to try to fix it. Like,
geez.
They've done that before. They did it once.
What did they break?
Oh, you don't remember? Like it was like a couple years ago, but like they went into the Xbox settings and I ended up having to like troubleshoot for like an hour and a half. Like they literally messed up everything. I almost had to like just completely wipe the system and restart. Yeah, it was, as I said, they did it once. But yeah, like all in all, it's not a bad title. Just keep your hopes in check. Yeah. Remember, this game, the target audience is kids between like 3 and 7, not for people who are 37. Like, which
is why you reviewed.
Well, yes, I'm 38. Obviously, I'm a mature adult.
Oh, God. The game clock's in at $40. What are your thoughts?
I'd say buy it. I mean, if you've got kids who love Bluey, they're going to be nagging you for it anyway, so you might as well just get it done and over with. But, I enjoyed it. If you're a little worried about, like, the game's, like, length, wait for a sale. But it's a solid kids title, or for younger kids. I wish there was a little bit more to the plot, but, otherwise, this is a good start for this kind of stuff. And I'm hoping that we'll see another Bluey game from Outright in the future.
Cool. All right. Well, that is it for this episode. We made it through another one.
Yay.
Congrats, everyone. Brooke, we wouldn't have made it without you. Thank you for being here.
I'm just so glad I could be here tonight. Yeah, I do that. Nah, thank you guys for letting me hang out.
Hey, we love having you here. Music this episode, we're going to wrap things up with some Dale North doing Home Again. Since we covered No Place Like Home, might as well keep the home theme going. Everyone, have a wonderful holiday, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, whatever you're celebrating. If you're
celebrating Black Friday.
Yes, a lot of people do celebrate Black Friday because people are crazy.
How I celebrate Black Friday now that I no longer work retail IT?
Sleeping. People at retail?
Yeah. I sleep in. Yeah. I now take off for Black Friday to celebrate because I don't have to have any more of those 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. days.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yay. Does anyone have any final words to end the show?
Thankful
Aki
for y'all.
has nice breath occasionally.
Oh,
I highly doubt that, but thank you.
I thought I'd give you a compliment because I thought I'd give you a compliment because it's the holidays and that's what people do.
That's all you get.
Christmas yet? Hold the kindness for Christmas. You got to say something.
No, it's effectively Christmas because that's when we celebrate it as Thanksgiving.
Aki creates carbon dioxide, which is necessary for plants to breathe if she if she actually had plants.
That's my boy.
I have plenty of plants. They're all outside.
Are they dead?
Of them.
Yeah.
No, they're alive. It's called grass.
Good job, Aki. Keep breathing outside.
Exactly. I don't breathe outside, though.
You hold your breath outside?
The whole entire time?
Yes.
Going outside.
Hey, it's gross out there.